Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Yesterday, we did a video talking about all the new NFL head coaches. So it got me to thinking that it's time to do another video talking about all the new college football head coaches. I know I did one, I believe it was sometime between the end of the regular season and the start of the bowl games, but there have been some more hirings since then. Altogether, there are 28 new head coaches at the FBS level in college football. So today we're going to talk about all the new college football FBS head coaches. Any thoughts on any of them, please feel free to let me know. I might even give a few thoughts along the way for the ones that I think are going to be really good or really bad. But the first head coach hiring we're going to talk about is Brian Kelly, who of course is the new head coach of LSU. And I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again, that Brian Kelly is an amazing head coach. He's won everywhere he's been. He won at Grand Valley State. He won at Central Michigan. He won at Cincinnati. And he won at Notre Dame. And a lot of people don't want to give him credit because before he came to Notre Dame, we got to remember that they were lucky to be mediocre. They always got hyped up every year because of their past and because of the supposed talent they had, but yet on the field, they never won. But Brian Kelly came along, and they were actually a good team every single year, and he won 8 or 9 games almost every single year. It's just so many people hate Notre Dame because they were always overhyped for no reason between the time Lou Holtz left and the time Brian Kelly came. But Brian Kelly was actually hyped up for a reason. He actually won there and even made a national championship game as their head coach, even made the playoffs as their head coach. But Notre Dame always had 2 or 3 5-star players, and the rest were 3 or 4-star players. So that's the one thing that's going to hold Brian Kelly back, in my opinion, until he proves he can consistently recruit. I'll give the hire an A- because I do think he's a phenomenal coach. But if he just has 2 or 3 5-star players at LSU, he's only going to win about 7 games a year, and that's not going to cut it. But as good of a coach as he is, if he can get 5-star talent, not at every position, but at every key position, they're going to be tough to deal with. And then, of course, we have Lincoln Riley going to USC. He is supposed to be an offensive-minded coach, but 2021 Oklahoma's offense just was not that good under him. Now, they looked good in the bowl game when Bob Stoops was there, but during the season when Lincoln Riley was there, their offense just did not look as good as it did in his previous years there. So was that because he was leaving and he knew it and he didn't care, or was it because the defenses have caught up with what Lincoln Riley is doing? We'll have to wait and find out. And then we have Marcus Freeman, who is the new head coach at Notre Dame. The players love him. He's young. He's vibrant. He sounds like he is going to be a great head coach for Notre Dame, but we will have to wait and see and find out. And then, of course, we have Billy Napier at Florida. I'll give this hire maybe a B because I do think he's a better coach than Ron Zook and Jim McElwain, and I think he's just as good of a coach as the overrated clown show Dan Mullen. I just don't know if he can recruit, and some of the things he said so far in press conferences, he just sounds like a buffoon. Not a Dan Mullen type buffoon, but still a buffoon. But I do think he is a good enough coach to consistently win 7 or 8 games every year at Florida, but we know at Florida, winning 7 or 8 games a year is only going to get you so far. But I'll give that hire a B. And then, of course, we have Mario Cristobal at Miami. I'll also give this hire a B because he's proven he can recruit. But to me, he's also proven that he cannot motivate his players worth a darn. So until he proves to me he can motivate his players, I'm never going to go above B, because it doesn't matter how much talent you have. When you come out and lay eggs like they did this past year in both games against Utah, that talent only takes you so far. Then we have Brent Venables, of course, is the new coach at Oklahoma. I'll give this hire an A-. I think he's going to be an amazing coach, and I think he's going to do amazing things. He's already got them trending in the right direction, and he already has recruiting going in the right direction. Has not coached a game yet. I think that's going to be an amazing hire for Oklahoma. And then we have Joe Moorehead going to Akron. It's Akron, so I'm not going to waste any time talking about it because I don't think anybody really cares. But, of course, Joe Moorehead does have head coaching experience before when he coached the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. And then we have Dan Lanning, who is the new coach at Oregon. I'll give this hire an A+. I know he has not coached a game yet, but just like Brent Venables, I think he's going to be an amazing coach, and I think Oregon did the right thing in hiring him. And as long as he can get Phil Knight to back him up, he's going to do great things with the Ducks of Oregon. And then we have Kailyn Deboer, the new coach at Washington. Rhett Lashley is the new coach of SMU. Hopefully, he can show now, since SMU is a smaller program, how good of an offensive coach he's supposed to be, because every year you hear about Rhett Lashley being an offensive genius, but then on the field, he's just average. And then we have Clay Helton, the former coach at USC, is now the coach with the Georgia Southern Eagles. Jerry Kiel is the coach now at New Mexico State. And Jim Mora Jr. is the new coach of UConn. I don't think he's a very good coach. He's been a failure everywhere he's been. But we got to remember, it's UConn. He can go there and go 6-6, and he'll be fine. Most programs, you go 6-6, you're on the hot seat. UConn, if you go 6-6, as bad as they've been for the past decade, ever since Randy Edsall left the first time, if you go 6-6 there, they're probably going to give you a statue, name the stadium after you, name the field after you, give you your own street name, change the school name, because it's UConn. And then we have Mike Elko, the new coach at Duke. I think he's going to be a good coach. And then we have Tony Elliott, of course, the new coach at Virginia. I'll give this hire a B-, and it's not because I don't think Tony Elliott is going to be successful, because I do. I just think Bronco Mendenhall was one of the most, if not the most, underrated coach in the country. So I think the program as a whole is taking a step down from Bronco Mendenhall to Tony Elliott. I just don't think Tony Elliott is going to be as good of a coach as Bronco Mendenhall was, but maybe I'll be wrong. And then we have Jake Dickert, the new coach at Washington State. And then Sonny Dykes is the new coach now with the TCU Horned Frogs. He's coached before at the FBS level, and he has not been successful. He's been successful with the smaller programs, but he has not been successful with the Power 5 programs. So maybe this time it'll work out, because his trip around the sun with California was an absolute, complete failure. But at SMU, he was very, very good. And then we have Jay Norvell, the new coach at Colorado State. Jeff Tedford is back at Fresno State. Jeff Tedford, speaking of California, coached California, I guess around 20 years ago it's been now, and they were really, really good for a while. Then the program kind of fell off, so they fired Jeff Tedford. He went to Fresno State, and he was amazing. But he stepped down due to health concerns, but he's back now, so hopefully he'll be as good for the Bulldogs' sake this time around as he was last time he was there. Don Brown is the new coach at UMass. That's not even worth talking about. UMass is terrible. They're worse than UConn. If he can go 4-8, they'll change their name from the Massachusetts Minutemen to the Don Brown Minutemen. And then we have Brent Pry, the new coach with the Virginia Tech Hokies. I think this is going to be an amazing hire, but as bad as Justin Fuente was, about anything right now for the Hokies is an amazing hire. Mike Mcintyre, the new coach of Florida International. Joey McGuire is the new coach of the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. Sonny Dykes, the former Texas Tech quarterback and offensive coordinator, is the new head coach of the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. And then we have Stan Drayton taking over Temple. John Sumrall taking over the Trojans of Troy. Ken Wilson is the new coach at Nevada. Their last coach was Jay Norvell. He left to go to Colorado State. And then last but not least, we have Michael Besormo, who is the new coach of the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, taking over for Billy Napier after he left to go to Florida. Again, any thoughts on any of these hirings? Which one is the best? Which one is the worst? Please feel free to let me know. Right now, in my personal opinion, I'm going to say the best is Brent Venables. But now, if Brian Kelly can recruit, I think he'll be the best. But until I can see whether or not he can recruit on a consistent basis, right now I'll go with Brent Venables as the best hire of the 28 new FBS head coaches. Some of these guys are new, first-time head coaches, and some of them are just new to the program. They're out now. Again, any thoughts on any of the hirings, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Why don't skeletons ever go trick-or-treating? They have no body to go with. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.